Matt, Braden had 26 points, 14 assists, 2 steals. What does he mean to you, and what does he mean to this Purdue program?
Yeah. Well, obviously just to being able to function offensively and knowing that, the ball's in his hands. Everybody has like a tough game or tough stretches or whatever. And so obviously last year, probably our toughest game was against them. They clearly outplayed us. They outcoached us. They were tougher than we were, but we had 24 turnovers in that game. And then so just collectively, we didn't give ourselves a chance, but a lot of that had to do with them. Give them credit for how hard they play and how physical they were. And, I just thought they were great. And I thought they were great tonight offensively. I thought they did some really good things. But no, when Braden has the basketball, and we got it going, right? And we got it going and understanding, and now we're going to get to some hit and miss. That's what it comes down to. Like, even though we scored 93 points, we had and we shot close to 60%, we had a lot of open misses. And, but like, he's generating a lot of that. Sometimes he gets to where he's got to get it out of his hands, and it's probably going to be a hockey assist, and he doesn't always like those. But that, making the right play in basketball. But no, he's the best, man. He's the best I've been around. And the way PJ orchestrates our offense and talks him through, some different things. Like, they've been a very good team. And at times you got to back up, and you're like a fan. You're just watching. And but no, he puts the defense in a real bind and makes them make some real hard decisions. And I thought one of the things today was, like, when they went to a zone, we were ready for that zone, we executed, but then sometimes you execute and you miss shots, and they just stay with it, right? But we made some shots, and so, like, that wasn't an answer for them. And, really in this game, they couldn't stop us and we couldn't stop them when it got down to it. I thought the difference in the game was our ability to play make and not turn the ball over. The turnovers end up being the difference if you look at it from a possession standpoint.
What are the circumstances where you need Braden to score? Is it simply if the other team's dropping?
Not always, because they weren't in a drop. They were trying to knock out as much as they could. And sometimes when they're late, it looks like they're in a drop. But they're really trying to knock him out. They're really trying to one-step hedge, two-step hedge, and take him to half court. But no, just what the defense gives you. A couple of them, for him, a couple of the threes were rotation threes, which sometimes he starts so he doesn't get in those. But if things can happen a little bit differently, it can end up coming back to him. Or, kind of circumstantial type stuff, like offensive rebound, kick out, rotation after that, things of that nature. So, no, just take what the defense gives him. I thought he was aggressive. I like seeing him being that aggressive, because I know once people stop him from shooting, and they really, they make that emphasis, now that just opens up everything. Like, you're just not going to have like 18 field goal attempts and then like your next guys. Like they took some things away from TK, and I know he got in foul trouble, but he didn't get as many attempts because they took some of that action away. And with that, it opens up things for him.
Kind of going off of that, Braden said something along the lines, I don't remember the exact quote now, but because on film this year, I know everybody in the Big Ten knows what he can do, but this year they've seen him pass out of these situations where he goes to the basket or whatever. He's getting open lanes to the basket. Are you seeing different ways of defending him because of his ability to be an elite passer? Yeah,
we'll short roll TK a lot, and so they really work towards defending that short roll and kind of playing a drop and get back, or playing a quick hedge and get back. With Oscar, more than anything, they'll quick hedge that or extend their hedge. But now he can work them and come back and work them downhill and kind of use that big as another screen. You saw that a couple times tonight. But no, just what the defense, whatever the defense is doing, and just take what they're giving you. And I think that he gets in trouble when he starts to have predetermined thoughts. When he just plays off his instincts and understands what they're doing and takes what they give him, he's special.
Oscar had 4 offensive rebounds today, and he had 6 points and an assist off of those rebounds. Can you just talk about the importance of his efficiency, not just his ability to offensive rebound, but to turn that into then points?
Right. He's shooting 75% from the field. I don't know if he has enough field goal attempts to lead the country. it's a glaring stat when you're shooting that high, and then you go 10 for 11. I played with a guy my freshman year that led the nation in field goal percentage, and he'd shoot 80% every game, Steve Scheffler. And I'd always be in the huddle trying to tell him don't you think he should get more shots, right? Don't you think he should get more shots? And him and Daniel shoot a high percentage, and that's what you want. But you also got to understand a lot of what they do is, besides just their post ups, they play off of Braden's penetration, TK's short roll when we throw those lobs, whatever it might be. So we try to orchestrate more of the reads. We get him into post-ups, but we don't go to the well with him all the time like we did with Zebo. But no, he's good teammate, hard-nosed player. He's exactly what we needed. Rarely ever, you'll get someone yeah, they help us, we're better, but it's not quite what you needed. The physicality that he plays with, the nose he has for the basketball, his engine just keeps running. And that's what we try to do with him and Daniel, just kind of bringing in two different type of guys. But it's when he's, this is probably a high minute game for him, right? But it's a compliment to him. It's one of those things where you're man, can't take him out. It's the way Braden was rolling today, can't take him out. And so when guys put you in there, now we got to get it from a two-way standpoint. We got to get guys, I said in the locker room, because when you play, you always want something from a coach. You always want, what can I do to make this better? You want to win for your team, but selfishly, you want to play, right? Who doesn't want to play? And, that's what, CJ's really, obviously, he shot the ball well. He doesn't turn the ball over. He got steals. That one little stretch, him and Braden kind of opened the game up for us. But he's a better on-ball defender. And so that really propels him over some guys there. And so those are kind of the challenges that we have for all of our guards, really everybody, is we got to be better one-on-one defensively. They had around 17, 18 layups tonight. And, we got to, and we haven't been perfect in our last two games. At times, there's, when you blow people out and you do stuff, you're just oh man, this is great, when in reality it's really not helping you. This is letting you know hey guys, we're winning games and that's great, but we got to be better on the defensive end.
Kind of staying there on the big guys, the grind of the Big Ten obviously gets you in close games like this. How does having two guys like Trey and Oscar both be top 10 offensive rebounding rate, how much of an antidote is that against nights where the shots don't fall?
Yeah, it's a lot of those guys getting behind plays. It's really hard to rebound when you're in help a lot. And so now if you can, get them in help, break them down, get them in rotations, get a good shot. Now the fact they're in rotations, now those guys, if they don't have big on big, they still have an advantage. But now in those rotations, they really have an advantage. So that's, something that you work on. You put a lot of time in, but then when you start looking at those two guys and what they clean up after you get good shots, it's way easier to rebound, good shots that are expected versus bad shots that aren't. And they've done a great job. TK to me is just opened up another piece of his game. Tonight he doesn't, have as many opportunities, but he gets 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and he doesn't turn the ball over. That's a pretty good night, helping your team win.
I don't know if you necessarily play defense anymore in a way that aligns with forcing 20 turnovers a game, but you've been scoring on a lot of these turnovers. Is that effort in what you're doing? Is that being a step ahead of what's going on?
Yeah. Well,
how do you kind of account for the way it's transitioning from turnovers to offense?
Yeah, well, a couple of those were just having active hands on the ball, and getting those steals. And then Braden did a good job when we hedged the ball screen and shooting the gap and getting that steal right there. But, for our team, I think it's more than anything is when people show weakness, we need to be aggressive. When they don't, we have to be solid. And you're throwing that in a couple big boxes, and there's a lot of particulars that go with it. But I think that's key for us. I didn't think we were great tonight in guarding the basketball, but I also thought schematically some of the things we were trying to do, we just had too many breakdowns. You're having too many layups. But in that one stretch, like I mentioned, I thought that was the kind of the break it open a little bit part of the game, and we got those transition baskets after getting those steals.
2 years ago, you had just a force of nature guy on the court, and it gave you a high floor of every night. Does the best version of Braden, do you look at it as the same way? Does it give you guys that sort of presence of production that can be sort of a security blanket?
Yeah, the best version of him is just taking what they give him. So whatever numbers that produces, now he's just playing the game the right way. You know, if the pass is there, pass. If the shot's there, shoot it. And not really worry about it. Like, I think sometimes when you make some shots, it allows you to settle into the game and be more aggressive versus missing some shots. But real scorers don't let it affect them. You know, you keep going, you keep taking good shots. We had a couple opportunities today where I thought guys passed on some shots. Not a lot of them, but you got to take your shots when they're there. So, you know, for him, he can have a high assist game and not score a lot and still be a productive game, right? But like tonight is the best of both worlds on an individual standpoint because he scores the ball, he shoots at a good clip, you know, he makes threes, doesn't turn the ball over, and also play makes for us.
Last one, right?
Coach, what have you seen out of your team kind of in this game and other games this past season where you kind of get to around that 10-point lead in the second half and then your team's able to maintain that lead?
Yeah, you know, it's when you look at your team and you kind of look at, like, very rarely are you going to say, like, hey, man, we're really good to start a game, we're really good to finish a game, we're really good at the end of the first half, really good to say, there's going to be something. Like I had somebody say to me, he goes, hey, man, you guys are doing a pretty good job this year. And I was like, well, if we beat Penn State, it's the best start in school history. I think it's great. You know what I mean? But I'm the one living in it. And they're not. They look at it. But when you do some of the things that they've done, especially our seniors, like you got to appreciate what they've done. Like don't take it for granted. And I don't. But like sometimes when you look at things of that nature, like, man, you get a 10-point lead, man, why don't you take it to 18? Well, Freddie DeLeon didn't let us. Like he looked pretty damn good to me today. I don't know what you guys were watching. Like he looked like a real player, man. He was fabulous. And we go back from our perspective and say, hey, we got to do a better job defensively. But sometimes you got to tip the cap, you know, to somebody else. And you know, it was one of those games that like it could have got away from us too, but it didn't. Right? But it was there. So you don't want to let it live in that world. And the one thing fans don't understand is you are trying to push that lead. You're trying to do things. And sometimes you have to be positive with players when they do what they're supposed to, make the right decision, and they get a bad result. You have to be positive with that. And if you're a fan and you just play off of results, you don't know what you're talking about. Because now, like, you can't ask somebody to do what they're supposed to do, they do it, and then you're mad at them. Why would you be mad at them? They did what they're supposed to do. So, but when they don't do what they're supposed to do, and then they have those breakdowns, I always look back at myself and say, well, then I didn't have them prepared, because I control myself. So now, like, it's not on them, it's on me, because I didn't get their attention in certain areas. So, like, that's, from a coaching staff standpoint, we got to do a better job of some things, in my opinion, of keeping the ball out of the paint. But from an offensive standpoint, I thought we were big time today. I thought we were big time. This number could have been higher. We had some misses that I thought that they could have went down. But yeah, it's something you think about as a coach. It's not a perfect world.
Anything else?
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.